Hey, what's up, guys? This is Anarchist here with my Infernal Knight, Blackwater Cocktail Sorceress. This is largely a thematic kill it with fire build. I utilize the insane freaking bonuses to Blackwater Cocktail and Thermite Mines to absolutely boost the crap out of Blackwater Cocktail and Thermite Mines. You can see they're completely maxed at full ultimate ranks. The only problem is you get a little energy hungry with this build. These cost 148 per cast. This 116, which is actually just pretty cheap. But however, the big ones are Meteor, which is costing 376 energy per second, and Apocalypse, which costs 760. Get a decent bit of damage coming out, about 50k max burn ticks when you stack everything on top of each other. As far as defense goes, you got Maven Sphere, Mirror for the oh shit button, and then you have Flashbang for the Confuse, and you can see here I have a max Searing Light for the 34% chance fumble and impaired aim. Man, it does a decent bit of slow. The big thing here, another thing I'm forgetting is the insane 250 offensive ability debuff on Blackwater Cocktail. That, I believe, equates to 15% chance to hit, or so, that they can't, that their accuracy is reduced by. And then this gives you close to 20% chance, increased hit chance, and then, well, whatever, if you're over 100%, you get like probably 10% crit chances from this, depending on how the formula goes. You definitely get some solid crits out of this build with this skill. And as far as my equipment goes, you have, of course, the Infernal Knight set. This set is integral to making a Blackwater Cocktail build for to get the maximum distance out of Blackwater Cocktail. Aside from that, you have double entropic coils with Corpse Dust and Overseer Gaze. The Herald of Blazing Ends for more bonuses to Blackwater Cocktail and an enchanted flint attached to it. And then the Outcast Inferno for the 200 health. You have the chest piece here, the belt, the shoulders. These all have to be found. However, the helm, like all but one helm, is craftable from the blacksmith. My amulet is the Herald of the Apocalypse. That said, this one's kind of a swap out. You can go for defense, you can go for the Peerless Eye of Baroneth for 1 to all skills, which would probably get me better mileage out of my skill bonuses. And then I have Aldenar's Vanity because I don't have 715 Spirit, so I can't equip like the max tier legendary focuses, so I'm mostly just using this for the 1 to each my masteries and the fire damage, and then the cooldown refresh from Aldenar's Vanity. My gloves are the Wormbone handguards, which also give bonuses to Blackwater Cocktail and Thermite Mine, and pretty healthy bit of OA and health. And then you have the Wormscale foot guards for the Wormscale buff and the 2 to Thermite Mines. My medal, is a Badge of Mastery, +5 to Blackwater Cocktail. This is actually wholly unnecessary. I could swap this out for whatever I want because I'm actually +20 on Blackwater Cocktail. I could swap this out for a Mark of Divinity or whatever else. If you're doing this build too, this is up to you. This is your choice. Do whatever. And then for flavor, my relic is Annihilation. I like the Meteor skill. I like having nukes. That's just my thing. You can go with Olzuan's Pyroclasm if you'd like. As far as my devotions go, it's a bit of finagling, but you start with the Chaos Crossroads here, Jackal, and then Vulture, because what you're doing is you're going for this at the end of normal. However, you do need to have the Crucible installed to do this, because this is 8 points right here, and then there's only 28 you can get in normal if you get all the shrines in normal. you'd need 5 extra points that you'd get from doing the Crucible as a start. From there you would go the Eldritch Crossroads into Hawk, Spider, Scholar's Light, and then Soleil's Witchblade. I should probably mouse over all the bonuses too. Cunning Spirit, Chaos Resistance, Offensive Ability, less damage from insects and arachnids, and then 15 to OA and DA. 3% Cunning and Spirit, some casting speed and reduced attack and movement speed. Hawk is offensive ability, crit damage, and cunning requirement for ranged weapons, and 3% OA. Scholar's Light is like some bit of extra fire damage, physique, elemental resistance, and defensive ability, and some energy regen and elemental damage. From here, you'd have Soleil's Witchblade, which is chaos, fire damage, spirit and offensive ability, energy burn, chaos damage, and defensive ability, fire damage here and fire resistance, and then Eldritch Fire proc, which I have attached to Blackwater Cocktail. This is it at max rank. It does 20% fire and chaos resistance reduction, and it deals a decent bit of damage that ticks over time. Now this has no cooldown. It'll keep proccing off Blackwater Cocktail as long as it's out. But this will give you the full requirements for the Ulzuan's Torch. And then this here, you get fire damage, offensive ability, chaos resistance, crit damage and movement speed, burn damage with double duration, and then the Meteor Shower, which I have bound to Flashbang. Now, before in patch 7.1007, you could bind this to Thermite Mines, and they would all proc a Meteor Shower on their own. This gives you about 6 of them, but due to performance reasons, this was fixed and you can't bind it to the separate skills now, Mortar Trap, that such. And that's what you'd end up with in normal if you have a start with the Crucible. After that, you would take the Crossroads for Primordial, get the Sailor's Guide for the physique, defense ability, the freeze reduction and slow resist, physical resist and cold and lightning resist, physique and movement speed. Then you would take the eel for the defense ability and avoidance, which is 12 and 2% for physical and melee and projectile, and then defense ability, a bit of movement speed, and some pierce resistance. And this would unlock the Solemn Watcher, which is a pretty good defensive constellation, all things considered, with 15 physique, 25% cold resistance, 18% pierce resistance, physique and defense ability, and reflected damage reduction and some extra defense ability here. Now, for my final 9 or 8 points, I also have a Viper, which is Spirit, Energy Absorb, Energy Leech, Vitality Resistance, and 3% OA, and 20% elemental reduction resistance for 3 seconds. Now what this does is, anything that does weapon damage, however, it is multiplied by the value. When it's below 100%, will apply this effect. You can just smack someone real quick with your melee weapon and apply 20% resist reduction to elemental. This is what I did with my last 4 points, but you can do whatever. I also have Behemoth here for some extra health, 10 health regeneration, 300 health, 4% health, and then the Giant's Blood, 1 hit, which is a health restore and health regeneration buff. As far as the expansion is concerned, you get 5 more points in the expansion. I don't know where I'm going to put them. There's not really much I can do right now. I could go Magi, but it doesn't seem like there'd be much point to it. I would probably end up going, I'd have to see what the new constellations do as well, to see where that would go. Anyways, you have, as far as buffs go, you have the Burning Weapons, which is a healthy bit of fire damage. Maven Sphere for the defensive, or the damage absorb, excuse me. Flame Touch for the incredible bonuses to fire damage and offensive ability. Vindictive Flame for the total speed buff. And then my Aldonar's Vanity has Void Ward for the chaos resistance. This character's fire resist reduction is so extreme that I can actually outright strip 90% of fire resistance off of enemies. And to really And to really show this off, I'm going to go kill a completely fire immune enemy known as the Herald of the Flame. To those who don't know, the Herald of the Flame has full fire immunity. It can be bypassed with some resist reduction, but it takes a lot. I'd count 90% as a lot. So let's go see what happens when I go burn him to death. Don't stand in the Aether Fire, kids. Yeah, as you can see, this build is real energy hungry here. And a bit on the squishy side too, if you've noticed. Nothing a bit of kiting can't handle. And that was Apocalypse I just triggered, and that one's a bit slow to trigger. But yeah, that just devoured my energy right there. Whoop. Wait. I'm an idiot. Now these here are the thermite mines. These give, if an enemy standing on them, they get 50% fire resist reduction. That's a pretty big reduction to resistance right there. And I need an energy pot because my energy is low. Like I said, a bit on the squishy side, and ooh, Sash of the Bloodlord. This is a legendary item. Not good for this build, but it's a legendary. Loot it.
I can't do that yet.
And that was close. Alright, and get rid of some of these stupid enemies here. And this is the Herald of the Flame. see, despite him being fire immune, I'm getting some significant ticks from that. 30k ticks. Not bad. I would consider that the best example of how this build works, because if I can kill something that is completely fire immune, anything else is pretty much gonna burn to death. Like I said, you're a bit on the squishy side though, so kite like a motherfucker. You're also still very energy hungry too. And as you can see, I'm not actually level 85 and I still have 7 skill points available. I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I could take off the badge of mastery and put the 5 back in here, because this isn't actually maxed out, and swap my medal over to Mark of Divinity. I mean, I don't see the point in doing it, at least not right now. Once the expansion drops, I'll see what happens and see where my skills can go. I could send the rest of my points in my mastery bar here and then get reckless power when the expansion comes, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm still waiting to see what the expansion has to offer, what our skill point spreads will be, or excuse me, how much skill points we will get past level 85, if it's still going to be 2 or they're going to cut it down to 1. But beyond that, it's a bit gear intensive, and that you need a full level 75 set to get this build going. And you could do it without the set. You'd be a little underpowered, because this whole set was designed for Blackwater Cocktail and basically boosting it to high hell. Excuse me. Still working on trying to speak properly in a mic. Other than that, I didn't. Okay, I forgot this. Leg plates of valor, defense ability. I was burning down my gear. Forgot about this. Health, defense ability, physical resist, pierce, and bleeding resistance. You could swap this out for Stonehide Soleil set leg guards of kings, but that is a double rare monster infrequent drop. I'd have better luck getting another legendary that I haven't gotten yet than getting those. But these are generally the second best for this slot. Other than that, not much else to say. My resistances are a bit on the low side, they're not all maxed. In fact, just because of the imbued silver, I'm just barely scraping out of the negatives on chaos resistance. But I guess that's it. I think that's all I can talk about right now. This was just mostly practice to see how I sound coming out of a mic when I'm actually recording a video. See you later, guys.